Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is my true pleasure this morning to share with you this introduction and to share with you my joy in having this wonderful man here to be with us this morning and to honor him as he honors us by being here. Over the years, there have been many people who have come our way, and many have stood in the pulpit. There are a few who stand higher and brighter and have become a light unto not only our now, but celebrating our history and advancing us all into our tomorrow. This great man has walked a path very similar to mine with Dr. Bitzer, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, and so many others that we have had the opportunity to share our life with. And this morning it is my great honor and privilege to introduce him and to share with you how much I appreciate him being here. Let's put our hands and hearts together as we welcome the Reverend Dr. Lloyd Tupper.
Well, that was quite an introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lloyd Tupper, and I'm a practicing religious scientist. You know, there are some younger ministers in our movement today. I used to be the youngest minister in the movement. Can you believe that? But since I'm an ageless, deathless being, I guess I still am one of the youngest ministers in the movement. But anyhow, there are some younger ministers who very lovingly poke fun at the fact of my introduction of myself by saying, I'm Lloyd Tupper, and I'm a practicing religious scientist. And they say, uh-oh, here comes Lloyd, you know, and they do that little thing that in jest. But I want to share with you why I do that. Because part of my talk today, the title being Spiritual Healing, is definitely not passé. Is that one of my great teachers and my practitioner of 20 years and a very close personal friend of mine, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, that Dr. J referred to, always insisted, while I was with him and while he was my practitioner, that I not dilute the principles of that which we teach and which we believe. And in the almost 45 years now that I've been in religious science, I have to tell you that I have steadily seen a delusion, a diluting of our principles to the effect that most people do not identify themselves as mental scientists. Now, I was born in Boston in this incarnation, so maybe I had the advantage of growing up under the umbrella of Mary Baker Eddy. However, I was brought up a Roman Catholic by a Sicilian mother. Need I say more? But my mother liked to interpret the Transcendentalist and Mary Baker Eddy's Christian Science, and I'll give you an example. When it was once a month, we had cellars in our homes back then, and my mother would say, it's that Saturday, it's once a month, and you need to go down and clean the cellar. And I would say, oh, that's so much work, and it's so damp and cold, and there are mice and rats down there. I tried to, make it as awful as but it didn't work. And one of her statements to me, and here's Mary Baker Eddy with a Catholic touch, God never places a cross upon whose shoulders cannot bear the weight. Go clean the cellar. So I was kind of raised with New Thought without knowing New Thought. But my great breakthrough came when on a trip to New York in the autumn of 1967, I was invited to go to town hall. This is before Raymond moved to Alice Tully Hall at Lincoln Center, to hear a man who was clearly going to provoke something in me, the likes of which I'd never heard before. And I hope that I'm not being too redundant. I've told this in every church I've been in, but I'm going to tell it again because I'm up here and you're down there and I'm in control right now. Anyhow, this very dear friend of mine, 54 years I've known him, said to me, "Let's go to church on Sunday morning." And I said, like a good Roman Catholic, I said I couldn't possibly go to a Protestant church. I'd go directly to hell. And that was the thing, that's how we were raised. I remember there was a Baptist church in my small town where I lived, all stone, beautiful. I wanted to go there in the worst way. But my dad, who was a convert to Catholicism, said, "Oh, you can never walk through the portals of the door. You'll be struck dead right there." So I never became a Baptist. But anyhow, back to my friend. So I said, I can't go to hear this great speaker. Maybe I can go and take one of his classes. And I said, because it is, one of our teachings that if I go to a Protestant church, I will go directly to hell. And he said, now mind you, he's a religious scientist before me. He said, "Well, Lloyd, judging from where I see you live, you won't have far to go." And that, my dear friends, was my introduction to New Thought. And then I went into Town Hall, and there was this man, many of you may have met Raymond, and I call him Raymond, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, tall, in total command, packed house, and he gave forth of truth, and I was certain it was a cult, and that I needed to be very careful because everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves, and that I was surely never going to get out the door when it was over. But when it was over, obviously, I did get out the door, and I knew, beyond understanding. You know that aphorism, understanding is the booby prize? I knew beyond understanding that I'd been called, and that what he spoke of is what I searched for all the years of my life. I knew it. And that's why I say what I say when I identify myself as a religious scientist. Because one of the things that's happened in the 44 plus years that I've been in this movement is that we have become more a philosophy than a science. And that the reason that we don't hear about the incredible healings that preceded most of us, as I look out at you, starting back, say, in the 1850s, is because we have diluted what we teach as the principles, the very foundation of what we call religious science, to the point that when we don't demonstrate, people just fluff it off and say, well, I know that that's one of the principles, but that isn't really practical, or that's not really achievable, or that's really, they were able to do that back when, and they probably embellished it when they printed it in books that you and I have read. I didn't believe that. Because, as I said, in having been introduced to Dr. Barker, I believed everything he said. Because everything he said was truth. And when he spoke the truth, I was set free in it. Because I remember from my Catholic upbringing that when Jesus said, "Ye shall hear the truth, and the truth will set you free," I had never felt so free as when I went and heard Raymond Charles Barker being the vehicle for the all-pervading Spirit to speak the word and to heal, restore, regenerate, perfect, beautify, and make me new as a free man. So today, that's my intention. And I have developed a little technique that I think will help you. I pray that it will help you. It's totally different than I had planned to present to you 2 weeks ago. But then I thought about something, and I thought, Lloyd, if you're going to present something to this distinguished congregation, having known Dr. J, for all the years that I have, make it accountable. Make it accountable. So here's what I'd like to suggest that you do. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, said that 90% of our thinking is subconscious. And that if we're not demonstrating, it's the 90% that is denying the 10% of our affirmations. Meaning that if you, like myself and like so many others in New Thought, say God is all, God is present, and God can heal anything and everything, for with God all things are possible, but you're not demonstrating that, then I'm here to tell you as a religious scientist that you have some very fulfilling work to do. Because if we know those things to be the truth, and we're not demonstrating them as the truth, who is denying, or what is denying the affirmation that we make?